buyer, she had just lost her home. So received a comment that this deal 100% virtually. Hey social media family, it's Kaylee here from Francis Comfort Mobile Homes LLC. Today we have a very interesting story from you guys featuring a client in, does anybody have any guesses? Lake Charles, Louisiana, the boot state. I'm sure you didn't guess that. We have a client featuring in Lake Charles, Louisiana. This story is going to be very interesting because we did this deal 100% virtually. And we do a lot of marketing in various ways, one being online. And I received a comment on Facebook from a client by the name of Mr. Wallace. And he reached out to us via Facebook, and he let me know that he was living in Texas with his sister, helping take care of his sister because she had throat cancer, but his house was in Lake Charles, Louisiana. He did not own the lot. The lot was on someone else's property. However, the guy who he was renting the lot from was letting him rent there, but the lot owner lived right next door, and he was getting a modular built, and he needed that space where Mr. Wallace's home was. That is the main reason why Mr. Wallace wanted to sell his home, along with, of course, he no longer lived in Louisiana, but that being number one. Wanted to make that clear. So he reached out to us via Facebook. From there, I wrote him in a message to get his phone number to vet the call and see how could we assist him. And once I got in the messages, we talked on the phone, we were pretty much ready to go. Due to our partnerships nationwide and our team members being nationwide, we had a team member that was located in Lake Charles. And guess what, guys? She also knew the lot owner. So it made it very easy, because sometimes sellers don't always tell us the full truth. However, if we know the lot owner or the park owner, we can get information that the seller may or may not be telling us, which always helps us out in the end. So our team member went out there, and she's like, oh, we worked together for X amount of years and everything like that. And so I received pictures from Mr. Wallace the day that he wrote us on Facebook. And due to him not being in Louisiana, made it very interesting. We got the pictures. We had our team member go out and inspect. Home went on the market. We had showings. Showings went good. The interesting part was, again, how are we going to get the home sold if the seller is not where the home is? That's the interesting part, right? So me and Mr. Wallace did talk often. The home was in good condition. It was a 1980 Del Rio, 2-bedroom, 1 bath. It was in a flood zone. As we all know, Lake Charles does flood often, so it did have little warped walls and things like that. But with people living in Louisiana also experiencing the same thing, the buyer, she had just lost her home. So this was something better than nothing, right? So when it was time for the bill of sale and the paperwork to be done, guys, this is where it gets all interesting. I had to FedEx things to Texas, get a notary in Texas. Shout out to Sebastian. Sebastian was very, 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 very helpful. So if you need a notary in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, hit up Sebastian. If I can find his business name, I will put it in right here. So Sebastian was very helpful. He drove out to Mr. Wallace. So Mr. Wallace did not have a vehicle. He drove out to him. He got him to sign the letter that we had for the pause. Mr. Wallace signed the title before he left. Mistake number one. Never write or sign on a title without an expert near you. That was mistake number one. Because he did that, we had to do a lot of corrections, and with the corrections, you have to have a letter from the seller. The seller is not there where the home is, so we had to do a lot of things via FedEx. However, FedEx, due to the floods in Lake Charles, FedEx was running behind, which also had the buyer a little skeptical because I'm not there. The team member is just relaying what comes from here and Mr. Wallace, but however, we are not in charge of FedEx, and we can't tell FedEx when to go, when not to go, especially in weather conditions. So luckily, the buyer's family had family who worked for FedEx, and they were able to verify that, hey, this thing was in transition, and that allowed the buyers to stay calm and not think things were getting a little sketchy, because we're saying one thing, FedEx is supposed to have been there because I'm going off the tracking. However, FedEx is its own thing. So it made the buyer feel comfortable that they had a family member that worked for FedEx who could track it and see that, hey, this was the problem and this is why it hadn't got there yet. So the buyer did call us and let us know, hey, I'm sorry, because they were getting a little antsy, because I understand the daughter bought her mother a home, the mother just lost her home, and the daughter were using her expenses to pay for this. Also, the daughter was in South Carolina. So a lot of moving parts were happening virtually, and the good part about it all, things were moving. We talked about getting under contract, we talked about the home showings, the buyer. Now it comes down to the moving. The lot owner wanted the home to be moved as soon as possible. However, we're talking about a state that gets majority of their clientele from hurricanes. So movers are prioritizing those hurricane houses over the individuals who just need, like us. So that was one of the main hurdles, because every mover that we tried to get contact, they were already really booked up for those hurricane homes. And I know those hurricane homes have a set amount that those movers were going after that were going to get paid more than an individual. So unfortunately, that put a little bit of a halt to it, because the mover that they had initially didn't show up because he had a hurricane house, and then the mover that they had did come. However, the lot owner wanted it to be gone as soon as possible because he had his foundation being completed, or he had his foundation scheduled to be completed days before the home got moved. And he was expressing that to his old co-worker, thankfully, that he had somebody to vent to. And then ultimately, he was very satisfied that the home got moved. Mr. Wallace, I'm not sure if he was being a good land tenant, but however, the neighbor was very excited once that home got moved and he no longer had to deal with Mr. Wallace. Mr. Wallace was also satisfied he could be in Texas and take care of his sister and not have to worry about going back and forth from Louisiana to Texas to handle it. So I would advise anyone who inherited a home, who wants to sell a home because they have to move due to family emergencies, work relocations, and things like that, to reach out to an expert, one being Francis Comfort Mobile Homes LLC. We can assist you due to our nationwide partnerships with our team members, and we'll be looking for your call. So that wraps up today's video. We'll end it right here. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, what are you doing? We've been waiting on you all video. We would love to have you here with us and our family, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Sorry guys, I had to come back on here. I wanted to let you guys know that the home got moved almost 2.5, 3 hours away from Lake Charles. They found a really good deal because they couldn't find anything else in their budget due to her mom just losing her home due to a hurricane. It is very bad in Louisiana, and these people are really having a hard time down there, unfortunately. And those hurricane homes are not always, for one, when it's a lot of people needing them, it's not enough. And so I just really am thankful that we was able to help a hurricane victim and be able to get her housed, and that she was just so satisfied, because it's just sad to be able to have to lose everything and then have to fear you not having nothing. She had land, so that really helped her a lot. And yeah, another thing I want to mention as far as the buyer, that the buyer had an old mobile home on her lot, and it was grandfathered in. Due to where her home was, they tried to say that it was too old for her lot. So that was after she paid for the home. So I had to coach her daughter up into saying what to say to the courthouse people for her to get her house approved to be on the lot for her permit, for her moving permit, because it was about to get really ugly. They had already bought the home, guys. Went up there to try to go get their moving permit and permit situated for them to be able to get their house put there. And they told her that the house was too old. And the people at the courthouse, they just work there. They don't always know the correct or accurate answers, and they just always misinform people. But these are real people's livelihoods, people's shelters that they are dealing with, and they'll just tell you anything and just say, hey. So when her daughter called me and I let her know what to say, can't tell you that. And long story short, she called me back and was so excited that they got approved, because they tried to tell her that it was going to be weeks if they got approved. With Francis Comfort, we'll get you situated and speak to the courthouse with you, for you, and get you approved ASAP. So I want to make sure I put that in there. Due to the family scheduling a move, we did not get any footage of this move, unfortunately. And I asked the family did they get any footage of the move, and they did not. They thought the mover did, and the mover did not get any footage of the move. So I was a little bit bummed out about that, because we did not have any part of the scheduling of their move. They did it all on their own. They found someone that was very inexpensive, and because everybody that we recommended was too much and out of their budget, which that's okay. We always recommend you guys finding your own movers for those reasons, and as long as the home get moves, that's okay. So that's the only part that I'm a little bit upset about. Sometimes we don't always get footage, depending on the variables of the home and where it's located and things like that, but we try our best to do so. And yes, I'm gonna wrap up today's video right here. If you enjoyed our video and found information valuable, you can share this video or this video to someone looking for home solutions. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, what are you doing? We've been waiting for you to subscribe to the channel all video.